Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Welcome to my channel if you are new here, and welcome back if you are returning. So yesterday I worked on the pastel tints, came up with little pops of light blue to lavender on each of our 6 images that we are working on. And today I've worked long and hard on a interesting different color palette, trying to think outside the box. I don't know if it's going to be a theme for the entire coloring book, but right now that is what I'm working on. So I've done a combination of a very light to very dark peach, which is going to be, I'll give you a sneak peek of my 8-step light to dark in the peach, and that is your hint for the day. And I will just start coloring and chatting, and we will see what I come up with. So I tend to do realism, so it's kind of fun to pop in some, I guess, a little more fanciful colors. But I really initially wanted to do a neon, and the Evazar has these really bright. So here is my initial inspiration pencil. I just love this color. It in the swatch is all by itself, which led to a really fun goose chase. So it is actually right here. And I then had to run around and find the color palette, the light to dark combination. So up here I have 007 and 008 that actually kind of are interchangeable. And then I went from here to very darks. I used, here's burnt orange, and then I went all the way into this beautiful color. You know, because on the other page I did do burgundy and maroon, I wanted to go ahead and go as deep. This will be the shadow color. And then over on the pastel, I went with the 4 shades, it looks like. No, I see, trying to see, I think I see only 2, 3 actually. So over here on the Pastel Tints by Castle Arts, I have 008 Coral Blush, and then I went with 007 Petunia Pink, 006 Almond Rose, and for the lightest color, it's actually on the other sheet. That actually was my other starting color that I was just playing around with, and it, if I can find the secondary sheet here. Here it is. I had mentioned this yesterday, that these unique, this cream rose, apricot twist, and candy tuft, as well as peach rose and winterberry. So I have picked peach rose. Oh, that says 48. Oh, I picked apricot twist. So that is my lightest peach color. So on that note, I am going to get started and see what I think about these pencils and how they combine together. Again, I'm using Evazar, the 130, and I have sharpened almost all of them. And then I'm using the Castle Arts pastel tints. So let's just get right to it. So now I have to move, before I can do that, I have to bring my camera down. Let's look at the image. I don't know if I gave you a good look at all of the images. So we have 6 of them. I am going to do all of them in, because I started with this wonderful kind of hydrangea color, I am going to keep all of them similar. I think that's pretty common for these pages. I am trying really hard not to cheat and look at the colors. I will let myself look after I have picked colors, but it's really fun. I actually do enjoy choosing colors, and I'm moving my phone out a little bit because I want to start with the mushroom up here. So you're going to, because of how close I am, you're probably only going to see one image at a time, but I will have at the end, I always do a showcase image of what I completed for the day. Oh, what episode are we on? I think this is 69. I apologize if I am wrong, because I'm always I work one day ahead. That gives me, in case there's an issue, it gives me 1 day reprieve at all times. So this is actually tomorrow's. I'm not posting it today. I am starting with that dark Falu red, F-A-L-U red 31. I am left-handed, so I have to flip it around for you to see it. This is one of the more legible metal stamped. Silver, gold is even harder, but silver is pretty good. And everybody loves the holographic 3-band. You can see it crystal clear. And yes, these are a very beautiful pencil. But in addition to that, they feel wonderful to use. I have noticed that the listing, I guess you would call it, on Amazon, it has changed a little bit, and I don't even know if they have these currently available. I am now, I bought the 520 set, which is still sitting in the wings. I knew I probably wasn't going to get to it right away. I've been working on just a bunch of different things. And of course, I'm doing this daily color, and I am going to stick with it. It has taught me so much, you guys. I can't believe how much it has just helped me grow in doing different things on YouTube. And I have learned how to do green screen. I am kind of embarrassed to say this, but I think I'm up to 690 videos or so, and I just hit 4,000 subscribers on my other channel. And I bought years ago a $10 video processing, Microsoft's video processing software stopped working for me, and I had to buy something, and I've used maybe 1/10 of the things that it can do. It's a very powerful tool. And so I just now have learned how to do the green screen and how to extract audio. I messed up on the audio, and I'm so tired of messing up the video number, because I don't think about it. And then I'm sitting here and my phone is busy, so I can't really just run out, leave you guys, and go looking for what video number is already posted. I have to try to mentally calculate, and that doesn't work so well. So these guys, as you can see, I am making very dark. It's the darkest area, or darkest peach on my page. And I have a lot of pencils here, and my Lazy Susan part, which is a 6-inch round disc that rotates. I could have grabbed, well, I have an extra one that's not even attached to anything, and I bet I could put it underneath this and it would work. But I didn't get it. So I'm just not going to use it today. But I'll tell you, I've had so I don't even know if I've ever explained what happened to my back. So years ago, I showed horses. I showed horses my whole adult life. I did gaming when I was a kid, 4-H and all that good stuff. I was in Snohomish County, which is a horse community. And years later, well, by the time I was in my 30s, I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. And I went on a pill. It's methotrexate, and it makes you really nauseated. And it was a very frustrating time for me. Okay, I have to stop and double check my numbers. Oh, I didn't. Yes, I did write my numbers down. Yep, I have the right one. So I spent years with back pain, lower back pain, struggled, and it would be so bad some days I could hardly move, couldn't sit. So I was on the methotrexate for 2 years, I think, which was a weekly pill. It made me nauseated, and the back pain sort of kind of went away. In addition to the ankylosing spondylitis diagnosis, I also was told that I had a bulging disc, which is, common. I think I might have been kind of young to have one. But remember, I showed horses, and at the time, in that era of my horse life, I showed quarter horses in the all-around, and I did every event, but I did like the English and Western events, the trail, Western riding, because I went for the all-around. And okay, let's see what we're doing here. So then I switched to an event that's much more exciting. It is called reining. And you do sliding stops and fast turnarounds, and I really enjoyed it. I had a trainer, got really into it, did really well, traveled all around. I owned only 2 reiners, and then before I did the reining, I actually took some lessons on my all-around horse that I had raised. I had raised him from a baby and broke him myself. And he actually did decent at reining. I did a couple of reining classes at like the local shows. They weren't even 4-H, they're just very local shows. And then I sold him. So I bought a reining horse and got involved with a trainer who had actually helped me with the other horse, the one I'd raised from a baby. He helped me do Western riding and trail and all that good stuff. So I also vended at horse shows. I made garments, and the garments that I made would be personalized for whatever the rider wanted, to have their horse's name. And I had a vinyl cutter so I could cut out the design. I had some standard event designs of every event that you would have at a quarter horse show or a reining show. And when I sold my horse, the last horse that I had, about a year later, I still vended. And so about a year later, I was vending. And after that weekend, I was pulling weeds at one of our rentals. And I felt my back kind of doing the same thing it had done years before. This was 10 years later. So the first time this happened and I was diagnosed, I was 35. So now we're at about 45. And I went back to the doctor, the rheumatologist, and he's like, yeah, it sounds like your thing is acting up again. This time, being at 10 years later, they had the option of methotrexate as a shot. And I already had given, I had given horses injections for years. So I was very comfortable with that. So I opted for the shot because he says that way you avoid the nausea. And I was all for avoiding nausea at this point. So I'm taking the shot. I can't sit. My back is so bad. And I go to a meeting in a room with a bunch of people, and I have to sit in a chair. And when I sat down, I had an explosion in my back. And it was the most painful, searing, flaming pain I have ever felt. It was horrible. And I had to sit through the meeting. And then I left and I called that doctor, the rheumatologist, and I told him something really bad just happened. So I went to the walk-in clinic and they gave me painkillers and said you should get an MRI. So I ended up like doing an emergency visit with a spine physiatrist. Dr. Jalali was his name. And he was the best. At this point, I'm moving my camera a bit. I need to move it out a little ways. At this point, I am in tears. I'm so miserable. And then the next day, I had to call the emergency line to just say, I can't handle this. My leg is on fire. It is like my right leg was on fire and I couldn't feel my foot. So I ended up getting an emergency MRI without contrast. I get a call from the Dr. Jalali, spine physiatrist, at 6:30 at night, and he says, "We have found a large mass in your spinal column. We don't know what it is. It is extremely large, filling up the whole spinal canal. We need you to come back and get an MRI with contrast. We've got you scheduled for like tomorrow." I think it was the next day at 1 o'clock. At this point, I'm not going to work. I'm trying to work from home, and I get the MRI, and I ask the gal, "So do you see something?" She says, "You've got a very large white mass." She says, "I don't know what it is." So then I was told, as a result of this mass, that I had to go. It needed to be removed. And it wasn't a solid object. So they said, "We need you to go see a surgeon, blah, blah. Here's a surgeon." I go to see the surgeon. I'm really stressed and worried. So I have my mom and my husband come with me. And we go. I don't want that color. I want this color. 16. 016. Apricot twist. Did I ever tell you this color? This is mocha. I am using a very dark color. EZ119. And so he looks at the thing. He tells me that there are different measurements for a disc rupture, which that's what this was. I had ruptured my disc. So that bulging disc finally blew. He says there are 3 kinds of ruptures: small, medium, and large. Yours is massive. So we need to get that out this week. So like 2 days later, I had emergency surgery, and it didn't work. It was horrible. The pain. At this point, I'm walking with a cane, and I'm angry because they supposedly fixed me, but it did not fix me. And my leg is on fire still. So we go 6 months later, they do it again. They're trying, and I have not, at this point, I've got like a handicapped card for my driving, and I don't go to work, and I've got a work release that I can work, but I have to be from home because I just can't. I worked at a big company, and there was no way I was going to be able to walk around in that big building with my leg in the condition it was in, and then my back pain. So they do it again. We're now in 2014, I believe, and it did not work. So I'm back to see this doctor, and he says, "You need a spinal cord stimulator. There is no, I don't want to touch your back again. It's twice as is it." And at that point, I was like, I don't want this disc in my back. It is clearly not something that is working. And so I went to the spine physiatrist. He sent me to the best spinal rehab physical therapist in my area, very well known, and he helped me keep going through all the pain. He did a bunch of different things. He did weekly reports, and he finally, within like 3 months after the second surgery, he's like, no, you really need to get that spine removed. And I did not want to have that removal surgery. So Dr. Jalali and this other doctor that I cannot remember his name convinced me I'm going to move to these next mushrooms. I'm kind of working on the peach now. This brown, there's a reason for this particular brown that I did, and I will go into the explanation of that as we get through. So I'm going to move over to this second image and work on the peach / brown. So this one gets to just use the normal. I'm pulling, since there's 8 total colors, and this is going to use all of them because this is the largest image that's going to have the peach. So I have pulled 12, 6, 7, and 8 for now. So I go to get a second opinion from 2 surgeons, and I got 2 different possibilities, and then I went back to Dr. Jalali, and he helped me decide which doctor to go to, telling me this is the doctor I would send my family to, and so that's who I think you should have do the surgery. However, the surgery was 2 surgeons, a pulmonologist, and then the orthopedic surgeon. And the pulmonologist has to come in. They open me in the front, and they move all of my organs to the side to remove the disc. And then the orthopedic surgeon, removes the disc, and they flip me over to screw down the whatever the contraption, the rods that hold the disc in place. And I believe that I got a cadaver disc, not something fancy or new. My insurance wouldn't even cover the fancy option. So this particular doctor was very matter of fact, and I was told he didn't have a good bedside manner, which I really didn't care. I just wanted the disc out. Oh, and they wouldn't, because I've had problems with healing and bleeding. They made me go to a hematologist at the University of Washington and have them run a whole bunch of tests to make sure that I was healthy and there was no problem with my blood. So they did a bunch of tests, and this was my PCP that wouldn't sign off on it. So it was crazy to have, the physical therapist, the spine physiatrist, my PCP. I didn't have to go to the rheumatologist anymore because I didn't have ankylosing spondylitis. It evidently just was a bulging disc that, due to my physical hobby of riding reining horses, probably eventually exacerbated that bulging disc to the point where it then blew up. Okay, so that is the darkest color I have. So now what I'm going to do is set these 4 over here, because I'll need to pull them. And then I'm going to grab, and I might be missing one. I should have a total of 8, but that was 4. I still feel like I want to work up here a little bit more. Let's see if I can get my phone to move up there a little bit further away. I can't believe I want to work further away. Okay, so I need to look at my color list and see what I'm looking for. It's hard to talk while you do this. I don't know how people can just rattle on and have a conversation and get anything done. So anyhow, there was a lot of doctors involved. It was very scary. I was looking at disability. I tried to go on vacation with my husband, and we just had a miserable time. We had a motorhome at the time, and we just drove to Eastern Washington. Normally we drive, I take a 2-week vacation, and we always drive really far. Our favorite place to go is to Utah, to like Moab, and do off-road stuff. And we couldn't do it we did, we tried, but we went as far as Washington and just stayed in Washington State. And I was miserable. I still had my cane. It felt silly. Here I was. I had sold the horse. Did I say that? Yeah. So I no longer have a horse. I always buy young horses and then work with a trainer. And I was like done with that horse. And he was sold. So I was looking forward to getting a young horse. He was 3 when I bought him. And so he had already been broke by somebody else, not by me or my own trainer. So I really wanted a 2-year-old next. And I was still thinking of reining until my back blew up. Then that whole changed, the whole thing. And I probably would not have, if I had kept up my strength in my spine, my lower back and my core, I probably would not have ruptured. I don't know what would have happened exactly, but I think it would have been different. So then my husband he had a scare with his lungs. And so he's in the hospital, the local hospital, which is, we lived in Everett. And so it was Providence Hospital on Colby in Everett. So anybody who lives there will know. And while he's having his biopsy of his lung, I have an appointment with the head pulmonologist because so his lungs are with a pulmonologist. And so I go to my meet and greet appointment with this pulmonologist to discuss my readiness for surgery and what would be entailed, what would his job be, and then to look at his schedule. This was like the beginning of November, and I am miserable, and I want my spine fixed, and I can't be at work, and I have a little tiny car that I have to get into. I had a Miata at the time, and then I had my truck, and so nothing was comfortable. It was just the most miserable 18 months of my life. It was a year. It was like a year and started in July. The explosion of my spine was in July. So I finally had the surgery. I was 45. They didn't really want to do the surgery on someone my age because this means that I will likely have more fusions in the future because they were just fusing L5S1. And I was very early in the morning, and as soon as I woke up after surgery, I felt immediately better. I now understand when people, there's these shows that have people who had a limb and then it doesn't feel like their limb and they freak out and they want it gone. Okay, well, that's kind of how I was about my back. I wanted that disc gone so badly that when I woke up post-surgery, I immediately felt like 1,000 times better. And I told the doctor I did not want to be at the hospital. It was the end of the year, so a lot of people are having elective surgeries at this point, and I'm hospital phobic anyway. And so I asked him what it would take for me to go home that day. And he gave me my things. Oh, Hub is coming in. We'll see if he is just passing through. I'll pause a second here. All right, he was just passing through. I'm at 29 minutes. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not doing a very good job of getting this done today, am I? So, I did all the things that I was supposed to do to get home. The physician's assistant, I didn't see him after the recovery room because the physician's assistant was in charge of working with me and taking care of me. And the nurse told me I didn't need any, and I had no dietary restrictions. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound right. normally when you have something like a surgery like this, they put you on like a liquid diet and you slowly work up to your normal food. I also, this one of the things was I had to be off of the morphine drip thing. So I actually rejected it. I said, nope, I don't want it. Just give me a oxycodone and I'll be fine. They give me a pill. It's sitting on my table. They don't bring me any water. I have no cup. So I have to send my mom out. Okay, so that's that particular mushroom. Now I'm moving on to these guys, and they're in the shade. So I am going to use these darker tones on these mushrooms. So I'm very angry. I think I got like a chicken burger and mac and cheese. So then the PA tells me, you can't go home today. This is like, you need to be in the hospital for 2 days. I said, oh no, I'm going home today. The person who was it was a room with 2 people, unlike my husband who was at Providence just, 6 weeks before, and he was all by himself. I have an old lady who doesn't understand what happened. Her daughter is in the room with her, and she's in horrible pain, and she keeps trying to get up, and she can't get up because she's got spinal fluid leaking out her back from whatever they did. So she's not supposed to move. She's got this raspy smoker's voice, and I'm really stressed being there. And so I did everything I needed to do to get the hell out of that hospital, and I went home that day, and my husband, bless his heart, took care of me. We had set me up in the living room with a nice tall bed, so I didn't have to get up or down. It just was a straight, just flop on the bed. He got me up every hour because I was so paranoid that I would end up being stuck at home, wouldn't be able to get out of bed. And that's like the worst thing for a spine, is to not be able to get out of bed. So he got me up every hour. My light source from yesterday, see how it's right here? I'm replicating the light source as much as I can. And now I see that this, I kind of did the light source a little bit off. It probably should be right here. I do have my eraser, so I'm just letting you know that when I finish for the day, I am, 32 minutes. So I am going to be slightly adjusting my light source to this ripple right here. So I just want you to know that. I am going to stop with those. So those 3 are done. And I will still go through with the lightest color, and I will get all of that blended out. But I want to move on, so I want to start like making sure that all of these, I'm going to work on them all at the same time so that their colors are the same intensity. I am swapping back, so these 3 darks, I don't even think I showed you the darks. 22 is the lightest of this grouping. 22, 118, and 031. So those are getting set aside so that I can work on this peach color. Trying to get these to, so I'm back to my, all 4 of these actually are the pastel tints. Back to 12, 7, 6, and 8. And like I said, 7 and 6 are kind of interchangeable, but I've been using the barrel colors to order them and then look at the tips. That one on the right looks darker than the left. So now I'm going to work on where I have figured, I'm actually trying. Okay, so I'm working on image number 3. I had my spinal fusion. I am home. I have my, I was supposed to be on leave, medical leave, for 12 weeks. I've hardly been to work at all in person in the last you know, like 16 months or whatever it was. But I recover, and I don't have to use the cane anymore. In fact, it was an old wood cane. I did have a hurricane at one point, but I really liked using the regular old wood cane. It was nice and short. And I didn't even do physical therapy after the surgery, which is so funny because all the other surgeries I've had, and I've had a lot of them, I always had post-surgical physical therapy, but I had done so much physical therapy, the months and months of trying to get better myself with, you know, naturally and heal on my own, which never happened, that I just kept doing the same exercises that I had been doing. We had a workout thing. It was some big fancy gym of some variety that we got from my parents. And I felt so much better after that disc was gone. Oh, Hub is back. I hear him. So now I am fused. I still have pain. I am way more physically fit, probably the best in my life. And so my back, I work out every day doing Zumba. Today actually was like an off day, and we went and threw the discs because we like disc golf. So it was fun to just do something different. So I do the pool, I do the floor Zumba, really enjoy it. And have lost a lot of weight from the back in that time where I was pretty sedentary the whole time. So I'm back down to a good weight, and I have to maintain my back. I have to keep it happy, and it does get strained. When the weather's cold, I have really bad stiff days, and because of that disc rupturing into my spinal canal, my right leg is all messed up. So the back is doing good. And not so much the right leg, but I have worked it and done the best I can with it. And now I'm moving on to the set of 3 darks to just do some darkening. And let's see, my reference image, my little cheater image. I'm going to put those away. This is the lightest of the darks. I'm going to grab this middle color. I think I'm still missing one color. I don't know which one it is. So what I'm finding ultimately is by doing this drawing, I am feeling really good exercising every day because I am consistently resting my back. So this was like a little hidden agenda tactic to try to keep my back as healthy as possible. And hopefully I haven't bored you guys all. Gonna just line out some of these. I don't often follow the lines like this, but I just thought it might be an interesting shape. And then we're gonna do some lights on the scalloping here. My glassine keeps floating around. So I still have some more of the blues to fill in. So this color palette is peach, lavender, as you can see, these lavenders, kind of the hydrangea colors. Green, of course, for the leaves, and I have 3 different color tones of green. And aqua to teal for the night sky. And then the frog, he's down here. The frog is like on a pond, and you know, I want to do the bubbles in aqua. I think I mentioned that yesterday. So I thought the dark teal would be a nice way to do the night sky different, because I already have the first 3 pages have nights, or 2 pages. Nope, 3 have the night sky of navy blue. Although the pastel I didn't put the dark sky. So yeah, only 2 pages with the night sky. Now I have, I'm going to look at my cheat sheet that gives me my 8 colors and figure out what's missing. This is the lightest, number 12. And I am putting this lightest color on the very ends here, on my combination, blending out to this lightest tone. And I'm at 42 minutes. So, since I'll have to be finishing up here, I'm going to finish up the teal elements. The peach elements. So I'm going to come back here and do a little bit of blending this out, because it's not looking all smooth yet. And then tomorrow I will have just the green and the teal to do. I had high hopes that I could get this finished today, but thought, oh, I'll just tell a story. That'll keep me going. And instead, I think I colored slower because of telling a story. So again, I'm using the lightest peach tone, which is number 16, to blend out all of these lines. Make them look pretty. I have some marks here that I will probably lighten up, and this right here I will lighten up. So let's do this guy. Have I mentioned anything about the pencils? They feel really good. They work good together. I can't really tell a difference between one to the other. I do think that both sets of pencils, although I've not done too much, I think I'm going to also go back to the little mushrooms, the first coral mushrooms on the other image on the left, in a second. Yeah, so I'll finish the peach. I'm going to clean up the dots. There's a little bit of over coverage, and on the dots I have, on this big mushroom, for the light I used 16 apricot twist, and then again the mocha 119. And so over here I wanted to do the circles here light, and I'm only coloring them part way. So I will probably come in with the mocha and do a line. So let's do that. a shadow line. Not too much on that one, and then this opposite side has some light on it. This does not, so I can darken this whole thing with the mocha, the darkest color. Same with back under here. And darken this circle because it's in the shadow. That guy needs to be darkened, and I have the color in my hand, which is this one. Okay, so that's what I've got so far. Again, the only other thing, because I think I'm past time, I am going to blend out these little guys with this light peach. Planning ahead, I see for bling on this page, white gel pen. Even on the page to the left that I still have to do the other half of, I will add the gel pen to that side as well. And then gel pen and maybe some shimmer. The stars, I've got a light gold glitter pen that I could use. I'm undecided on that part, but I think definitely white gel or white acrylic. Okay, so I've blended those out, the two mushrooms. I haven't blended this, or I might have. I'm going to use this tan, which is number 16 apricot twist. I think I already did this while chatting. So that is the end of my tail, and that is why I sit in a recliner every day. And after all the hell I went through and put my husband through, he watches me like a hawk still. And if I get all carried away and I'm up over at my desk for hours and hours and hours working on something, he will come and make me sit down and rest my back so that I don't pay for it, because I will pay for it the next day. All right, so let's take a look at these. We've got that image mushroom colored, these mushrooms, but the stems have not been colored yet, and they're going to be colored in this same tone. I'm just way over my time now. This butterfly now has some peach, but it needs a lot more work. I will go through. I only actually have two more images. There's a peach to this one, and there is peach on this one. But notice this just has leaves, and then it has the pretty bells, the bell flowers. So this one does not get any of the colors, and that is why I made this mushroom be brown. And so we'll see if my color balancing works out well. On that note, that is it for my daily color. Again, I think it's episode 69. And if I'm wrong, I'm probably not going to go in and paste in new text like I did last time when I had the wrong number. I will just put the correct number up in the title and in the description, or the title of the video. I hope you enjoyed this coloring of this page and my story. I am definitely way better now, and am glad that I ended up finding a way to get my back fixed without doing a spinal cord stimulator, because I really did not have a good feeling about that at all. So do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we will do this all again tomorrow.